All right. Welcome, everyone. We're going to get started right on time today. I'm sure there are a lot of questions, so I want to make sure we have enough time to get through everything. As the email mentioned, I have absolutely no a presentation or I haven't prepared for anything, which feels very, very strange. But this webinar is for you guys. We're going to open up and just start asking questions in just a minute, just to kind of set the tone for this meeting. I want to make sure that everyone is aware that we did turn off the chat on this one. I'd like people to unmute and ask their questions and make sure that everyone is getting the most out of this. And with the chat, sometimes the questions can get skipped over, or we just don't have everybody uh, fully focused on what we're talking about. So turned off the chat. We're going to get very interactive today, and we'll just unmute and ask questions. And the idea is that hopefully I can make sure to get you enough information to, if there's something that you need to dig deeper on, or you need more support on, we are going to talk about how to get the best support to get started today. But I can't do any troubleshooting today. This is not meant to be a technical support webinar where we're troubleshooting your issues. Make sure that you are submitting any issues to the service desk, and the support team will be glad to assist you there. So if there is deeper things that we need to look into, we may table some of them, but hopefully I can give you enough to get started on your end, if there are any setup issues or something like that that we come across. I will have my test database opened up, so that I can show you anything live, point out, where you might need to navigate to for clarity. But I likely will not be logging into anyone's databases. So if there is something, again, that we need to dig in deeper, we need to make sure that you do have the correct channels of contact method, to get the support that you need. In fact, I got an email this morning from someone saying that that was going to be one of their questions. So I'm just going to go ahead and, Alan, if you're with us already, I'm going to go ahead and just start with this and make sure that everyone on this meeting and webinars, if you're a user of eManage, you should be signed up for the service desk. We need you to be routing all issues, questions, concerns, suggestions, everything eManage related should go through the service desk. If you are unsure of what channel to use, it never hurts to just go through report a technical issue, and our support staff will gladly move it over to the training department or accounting department, depending on what the issue is. So if you are not 100% sure, the best route is to always use a report a technical issue. Some of you guys are going in and searching here, and not sure that, how to go down and scroll and actually submit something. So I am in the service desk. If this is your first time hearing about this, you can access this very easily from within eManage. If you go to help and send a help request, this will open up your default web page and take you straight to the service desk. You should be logged in. First thing you should do to make sure that you're logged in up there in the top right corner, get logged in. That way you can track your tickets, and communicate as efficiently as possible with us to get you the help that you need. So make sure that you're logged in. Once you're logged in, go down to report a technical issue, or if you know that you need some training or custom or a billing question or licensing issue, there are some channels for those. But again, we can always move it to the proper channel if you're unsure. Okay, but report a technical issue, and you'll just go through the form. So you'll click on the pop-up there. It'll open up a form. You can do a title of your issue, and then put in your description, attach any documents that you need it to be attached to, and hit send. Okay. We can handle the shared with and the organization part of it on the background, but give us as much details as possible if it does relate to an actual project. The more details you give us, the faster we are able to assist you. So that's the only thing I kind of wanted to go over today. I have a hand up in the conference room of somebody's.
Hi,
office?
Stephanie. It's Andy from Kirshner.
Hey,
Um,
Andy.
Hi. Quick question. When working in Legacy, and then switching over to Beta, we noticed that the line numbers are missing, um, for when we bring something in from CAP,
You can't.
and I can't sort.
Okay, and is it a matter of maybe just the field not showing on the grid? I'm going to open up a demo project here, and in the beta BOM, it might be labeled something differently than the legacy BOM. So I do have all my tech people with me today, developers on the call, and everyone. So if I'm not understanding, we will make sure we get the right people chiming in here. But it is in my layout and my demo database, we're used to it being right up front in most of our databases.
Yes.
It should be, I think it's under priority. It's not necessarily line number. Ravi, correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct. It should be
Is that,
priority.
That's
It's
correct. Yeah.
priority. Okay,
it's just a field naming difference.
great. And I see that you have
Okay.
a reception chair there. Is there a specific way you could bring a picture in to Beta?
So pictures are, if you're using the Spec tool and adding directly into eManage via the Spec tool, and Spec has that uploaded for that specific manufacturer, it should come in automatically on the first time that you add it. If this is the second, third, fourth time that you've added a part to your database, any project, it's storing the line in your master parts list, and it's actually pulling the picture from that master part. So if it's not
Stephanie,
stored on the master part itself, then it won't pull in automatically.
Okay,
Stephanie, we noticed that because we don't use Spec, we use the Cyncly, the 2020 worksheet.
Uh-huh.
And pulled in a few, whether it be a CIF file or an XML, and the picture doesn't pull in.
Right.
Back.
It's
Never
also only Spec.
has.
Yeah.
Ravi, can you chime in on that? I believe that we do have that integration with Syncly as well, but it's using the actual catalog reader directly in eManage. So actually going in and clicking the button here.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
and then what if the part already existed in your master parts list without that picture though, I don't believe it's going to override it. I'm going to let Ravi chime in on this one.
It would still override it. I
Okay.
don't remember off the top of my head if Syncly didn't implement the images yet, though, because that was a phase 2 on their end.
Let me check back with the Syncly team, and if we have any updates, you'll see it in the release notes. But I can also test it. But I do know that it does drive from history, when you're importing a CIF file. But yeah, if you add it directly from this tool, I know for sure with Spec, and the part does not, or Robbie's saying it does override it. So if the image does exist, it should add it from using that button. But we don't have a way to import images in from a CIF file at this time. If or again, Robbie, correct me if I'm wrong.
okay, thank you.
Absolutely. All right, I'm just going to start going through the list of hands raised. I love this. First time doing this, so you guys are going to make it, what it is, and I'm already loving the questions. Let's do the hand raising, and I'll just call out who I see hand raise, and then you can put your hand down after we answer those questions. April from Ideal, I think.
Hi. So I have a question regarding in the new order entry field, the quote, when you pull it in, it automatically names the name, the quote number first. And I was wondering for best practices, how that would benefit, working through the project, because we didn't do that previously.
Okay. Yeah, typically it is a best practice that our dealers usually start with when they're first implementing eManage. So it should have been mentioned during implementation, but we're just trying to automate it. The reason that we find that that's best practice when we communicate with other dealers who were using that method is really how it funnels down through to reporting and mostly invoicing. If you have multiple orders, multiple quotes, starts with multiple quotes, quotes equal orders, as we all know, and orders turn into customer invoices. So when we're communicating with accounting at the back end and we tell them, hey, please invoice something that if you're unaware of is, quotes are the heart of the whole project. Once a quote is in place, that's what kind of carries through to the rest of the system when we talk about ordering, invoicing, job costing. It's all technically driven from that quote. So it's the quote number is just a way that we can communicate and see very clearly what is connected to what quote, where it drove from originally.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Melanie?
Hi.
Yeah, Melanie.
Hi. I have two questions. The first question is if we already started a project with the Legacy BOM, can we like switch to the beta, or we have to finish that project with the Legacy?
So best practice that I'm sharing with dealers who are kind of still in the transition period is that if you can absolutely switch back and forth, the key is to make sure that you're not switching back and forth after the customer has signed the quote. So if the customer's already signed the quote and you started it in the original bill of materials, you should absolutely stay in the original bill of materials. However, it's totally fine if you started it in the bill of materials and the customer signed off on it, as long as when we're flipping to view quotes, that you're
Mm-hmm.
clicking the fix rounding button prior to sending it to your customer. If we're clicking that button consistently in the old BOM, everything should match up pretty perfectly through with both of them, because the biggest issue that we're seeing with people flipping back and forth is definitely like the rounding errors or taxable status. There's some things that the beta BOM has some safety checks in place that are really confusing people as they go back and forth. Hopefully that's enough. Robbie, is there anything else I should add to that?
I think you covered it all. If yeah, going back and forth, you just want to make sure that you're updating the pricing in the old BOM first with that new button, because otherwise the rounding issues.
Oh, because not that I recently started a project, but like a month ago, or yeah, I started a project with using just a BOM legacy, and when I go to beta BOM, nothing comes up. Like there's no quote or
I have seen that. It's because of how we switched the beta BOM. Likely you started an option, but you never in the legacy BOM you started an
mm-hmm.
option and you never flipped to view quotes. As soon as you flip to view quotes, it will, yeah, when you go into beta BOM you should see it. Otherwise, in beta BOM you do have to click new quote first, and then the option will exist, and you can select the option to add to that quote down here.
Okay. Okay.
Also, with the latest retake, there is the all parts tab. So even if there is no quotes, if you can flip to the all parts tab, and your options will still be there.
Okay, sounds good. Just one more question. I know that I've asked this before. It's how to apply a customer discount with the new beta BOM. Would you mind showing me?
Uh, sorry, margin, or do you actually use the customer discount field?
So, well,
They
when I
act
talk to the
in our
sales
line
person,
for
basically it's like we just want it. I don't know if that's possible, but before I used to create a line, and obviously I would say a discount, discount minus 600, and that way the customer will see that we deducted 600, and that's kind of what I wanted to see if we were able to do it without messing up with anything else. Like how can
Yeah,
we?
it
Mhm.
should be exactly the same. it's just probably a field that either isn't in your grid or, but yeah, the discount field is still here.
I guess during in our meeting, so it sounds like they just need to communicate with the rest of the team what they decided to do with that discount line that are doing it now. The money, if you want to talk to Adrian, we discussed this on Friday. I can circle back with you guys about it.
Yes, please, because it's hard.
Yeah,
I couldn't
Marissa,
understand.
Marissa, that's what I told them to do the way you discussed it with the header.
Mhm.
So you want to explain
We'll
that to
go from there,
Stephanie?
so.
Is that the way we should do it?
I can fill you in stuff later.
Okay.
But can you show it to me, Marissa? Because I think if you
Let me
tell
sure.
Adrian and she tells me, like, it's hard to understand.
what
Yeah,
I'm
we
not
could definitely
following
set up
on.
the time to do that.
Let's just, yeah, let's knock it out so that we don't have lingering questions.
Okay.
Are we, Maurice? I don't know what she means
Basically,
by
they're
headers.
adding a actual line item to the BOM that's
Mhm.
a customer discount of $600. They're
Oh,
putting in the BOM, and then when
gotcha.
they're going to do the accounting, it's messing it up because they're not taking it out of the BOM. So I was like, that's not the way I would recommend doing that. You should. So
Okay.
that's where we go. We
Gotcha.
shouldn't be putting a.
Sorry. I think we might need to take this one offline.
Tricky one. Yeah, exactly. So I was trying to prevent it. So yes, Melanie, we'll definitely touch base. I can circle back with you and do that later.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry,
Which I guess it's okay. In a general rundown, it should be as easy as adding a part, whatever line item that you have in there as customer discount. You've created some type of part in your system for discount. You should just be able to search for it, add it in. In the Beta BOM, it's a double click, a drag and drop, a highlight, enter. There's several different ways to add a part, but once that part's in there, then you should just be able to go in and edit the pricing in whatever way that you were doing it in the Legacy BOM. It's should be the same in the Beta BOM. You add a line item in Legacy BOM, you add a line item in Beta BOM, manipulate or edit directly within the grid itself, -600 or whatever.
Okay.
So just
good.
so yeah, but she
All
can
right,
give you
thank you.
a little bit of a deeper rundown offline for sure.
No problem. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, and I'm just going down the list. So I'm sorry if I'm jumping lines, but it's just whoever's at the top of my screen there. So Terry Polino.
Good afternoon. I'm Terry Polino with Gov Solution in the accounting department. I
Hey,
have
Terry.
2 questions.
Yeah.
As of right now, when we have several customers with multiple bill twos, prior to the update, if our PC or the bid driver didn't have the correct bill to, accounting department could easily change that and then send the invoice off correctly. Now, if we try to change the bill to, it creates a duplicate customer and duplicate invoices. So what we're having to do is take the invoice to a desktop, edit it, put the correct address in there, and then send it to the customers. We were thinking that maybe if it pushes through to QuickBooks from end user and not bill to, that can be corrected, but I'm not sure. Is that something y'all can look into?
This is a very, very common ticket that comes in quite heavily, and we can certainly say that there shouldn't be any duplications. The only change as of recent,
Oh, go ahead. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, it
Oh,
looks
no.
like she froze.
Yeah.
We cannot hear.
apologies, I just cut out there for a second. The common complaint was that when it pushed to QuickBooks, it would not push over if you had multiple orders under one project and different bill twos, that it wouldn't push under the correct bill two. So in QuickBooks, when you're running like your any type of past dues or anything like that, it wouldn't be under the correct bill two. It might be under the end user when it was supposed to be like the manufacturer, for example, with direct bills. So it should not be creating any type of duplicate, what it is doing is underneath the main job, it is pushing a secondary. So it's the customer, the job, and then multiple invoices underneath that job, if I understand the hierarchy correctly. So it should just be sometimes in QuickBooks, there's some view changes that you can make so that it doesn't look like it's duplicates. The way that QuickBooks creates, depending on if you're in QuickBooks Online or QuickBooks Desktop, it's basically a sub customer. It's not creating a brand new customer.
It is creating a brand new customer when we change the bill to and duplicate invoices. So our VP of Finance is constantly, of course, we quit doing it. We're just editing it.
Okay,
The VP was
manually.
constantly trying to find which job is the correct job to put that invoice on and delete the other one. So
Okay.
if y'all could
It
look
shouldn't be
into
doing
that.
that. So if they're yeah, I would highly recommend submitting a ticket with some specifics of QuickBooks screenshots, e-manage project numbers and invoices notated, like all the details that you can give us and we can look at it. But I do want to mention that it should be as simple as going back into order entry and just changing the bill to here. So I'm not sure
Well,
where you're
that's what I'm saying. We
changing it.
do that because we get invoices rejected if the bill to is incorrect. So let's say
Right.
we have one invoice on that one job. I
hmm
change the bill to, push it over to QuickBooks. It creates a second job based on the new bill to, has the same old job of the old bill to. Now we have two invoices and two jobs on the same invoice.
Yeah,
That's
let's put in a
question number.
ticket on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
that's question number one. So it doesn't matter. We cannot change the bill to right now. We're having to edit on the desktop somewhere and then send it to the customer.
okay.
All right, question number two is when
Yep.
we do push an invoice over to QuickBooks prior to the update, it would also push over the purchase order from the customer that we use. It does not do that anymore. So now we have to go back into the order, go to order entry or document where we can find it and manually copy and paste it into QuickBooks now. So that is becoming time consuming when you have 30, 40 invoices to do.
Sure. Have you submitted a ticket on this? Because it sounds like an issue, not so much a training. If something's not working the way that you expect it, it's an issue. We should submit a ticket on it. We should resolve it as quickly as possible.
All right, I will do that. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. About that, my little thing went away. All right, we got Sarna.
Hi, this is Shauna from Peak Office Interiors. I just have a question about the order entry. If I go into order entry and there's multiple quotes in there and I try to create invoice, it's not adding them all together. I don't know if I'm missing a step, not clicking something, or
The best that I can say to that is you have one quote and you select the quote here. Whatever's down here should be what shows up on the invoice. If you have two quotes and you want them all on one invoice, I would suggest getting them all on one quote to begin with. Whatever's on the quote should be exactly what carries through to order entry and then obviously to customer invoicing. If you don't want to go back to the bill of materials and put everything on one quote, in order entry, you can come in here and you can highlight the line items down below. So if I wanted all of these line items on this order, and so that I can invoice all of these with whatever's on this one, you can highlight all the line items and say move to another order, select the order you want to move it to, and hit OK. And then now you have everything on, well, I already invoiced this one, so it's locking me out, but then you would have everything on one order to create one invoice. That help?
Yeah. The thing is, like, for some of our quotes, like they can't be combined because one might be like a paint and patch. They're all for the same project, but I can't I don't know. I can't separate them because they're two different things we're doing, but they'll want me to invoice them as one invoice.
Interesting. Don't quote
Yeah.
them together, but invoice them together. Seems odd, but yeah,
Yeah.
the second method is the method that I would take for that scenario. Then just move them all to one order. So just highlight the line
Okay.
items you want to move them to one order, and then invoice from that one order.
Okay. Yeah. Because I have some that have like 5 quotes under one project. And then I try
Yep.
to combine some of them, and it'll say something like, it delete this line. Do you want it to add? And then it won't add them. It just completely erases the old invoice and adds a new one.
Yeah, just follow those steps and you should be good to go. Highlight the line items, hit move to another order, move them all to the one order.
Okay. And I just have one more question. The Beta BOM, does everybody supposed to have that, or is that just because I don't have that on my system?
Yeah, it should be a menu item here. If you're not seeing it, then you're not on the latest and greatest, and I would try to do a retake. So you can come down. That would be really strange that you're not on that one, because that one's been out since November. So
Yeah, I don't have that.
my bigger concern would be that you might need to actually uninstall the entire program and reinstall it. Put in a ticket, and they'll definitely help you get on the latest.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, Shauna. All right, Alan. Alan Hockman, Gov Solutions. Unmute.
I'm Kim Driver with Gov Solution. Can I take his spot?
Yeah, sure.
How are you?
He's
I'm
here.
sorry. I'm Kim
Good,
Driver
how
with
are you?
Gov Solutions.
Hey, Kim.
My question is with regard to the Cyncly catalog codes for Knoll. We had a meeting with the Knoll team yesterday, and we've been having issues with processing the orders with Knoll since we became a Knoll. We found out that the catalog codes that they needed to be uploaded into e-manage. I'm not sure if we need to upload them or if you work directly with Knoll and you all upload them. How does that work?
Certainly control your catalog codes. So if you go to Tools, Configure, I'm wondering if they got a completely new manufacturer code, but those import in automatically. If you're importing a CIF file into eManage and it just goes in seamlessly, that means that your implementer, when you first got started, we set up all the codes that you work with with your manufacturers. But if Knoll's new to you, then you might need to go into, again, that's Tools, Configure, Vendor MFG product codes. And if Knoll is still on this list under Create New, you need to add them in. So I don't have Knoll Essentials set up, but so if I wanted to set up Knoll Essentials, I would simply highlight that, and then fill out the form over here on the right side, map it out to the appropriate categories and product types, and then set it to Knoll and hit save. Then everything that you import into eManage, it'll read their manufacturer code first, and then automatically import the catalog code assigned to that line item as well.
Okay. Is there something in the help guide with these directions? Because you
Oh
went
yeah.
really quick and I couldn't. Okay, I'll look for it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Search yeah, manufacturer codes or catalog codes in the help guide, and it should give you a good article on what the difference of those codes are and how to set up the master one. And then you can control the subcodes, if you will, the catalog codes, because Knoll will have, K and O as most of it, and then they have, hundreds of different manufacturer codes underneath that one master code, if you will.
That's the issue. We've been using the K&O and it's still causing issues. They're telling us that we have to use whatever the other codes are. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. But put in a ticket if for some reason you're having any other issues with that. But yeah, set up first, and then yeah, let's discuss. We've got several Knoll dealers probably on the call, so we shouldn't have an issue with processing Knoll orders.
Thank you.
Alan, you with us?
Yeah, this is Alan Hockman with Gov Solutions. I had conversed with Marissa today, and I just want to know if there was a resolution to the visibility checkbox on the BOM. If it's, she said she was trying to find out if the line items that are set to invisible to not be visible on a quote should also
Ah,
not show up in an invoice out to the customer.
gotcha. I am aware of that communication thread, and I'll just let her finish out the thread. I think we're still looking into that.
Okay, so no answer yet. All right, thank you.
All right, April. I'm going to give somebody else an option to ask some questions. Rebecca?
Yes, hi. This is Rebecca with Laerdal. I am just wondering if you can help me understand. I know often when there are like fixes, when we put in a ticket and we resolve the issue, you guys have us do retakes. But I think at one point you guys had mentioned on a webinar that you were going to start trying to push patches instead of having people manually do retakes. So is that something that's happening sometimes, or if there are any fixes happening, do those always have to be manual retakes on each computer?
Really good question. We're definitely gearing in the direction of pushing out patch updates so that you don't have to do the manual retakes. Retakes will always be something that we will have in our back pocket. I feel like it's definitely a benefit, not so much a drag, because we, as you know, we can fix issues very quickly and put out a retake for instant, update, rather than pushing a full update that issue may be isolated to one user, one dealer. So we just kind of have to, we use our best judgment on when we're going to do that. Since you asked it, yeah, a couple weeks ago, I put out an email that we were going to be pushing a patch update. Since then, there has been several uptick in tickets on different issues that came from 10060. We're trying to wrap up the final ones, and we should be pushing out a patch at the end of this week. That's tomorrow. Wow. So yeah, we're just, we try to pack in as many of the fixes before we push the patch so that we don't have to tell you to do a retake right after we push the patch. Does that make sense?
That does make
Or-
sense. Yeah, I think it's, sometimes just difficult to, if there is
I
a
get
fix
it.
that's very important and we need to make sure everyone has it, and asking
get
every
it.
single person in the company. So it's just helpful to know that at
Yeah.
least you guys are moving towards pushing stuff. So thank you.
Totally.
Just to follow up on that, is there a downside to retaking occasionally once a week, 10 days?
Never. Never a downside to it. It won't hurt anything. It'll just ensure you're on the latest for sure.
So should we be encouraging people to just do it?
I don't like it.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, yeah, I mean, again, doesn't hurt anything, but yeah, because if we through the update, I think. I just lost my thing there. Okay. If I'm still connected, how about Katrina?
Hi, this is Katrina from Source. Can we go back to the new BOM? I know we've been over it quite a bit, but I'm finding it very difficult to work in, and I don't really know how to make it. I think if we could lay it out a little bit more like the current BOM, it might be a bit easier, because right now the way that it's laid out is making it very difficult for me to create quotes in the way that we've been creating quotes. It looks so drastically different. Is there a way to format this screen to be more similar?
Certainly. Did you happen to attend the last beta BOM
I
webinar?
did. There's a lot of information though, and I think it was a bit
Sure. Yeah, we
overwhelming.
talked about that exact sentiment that a few dealers are sharing, definitely not all of them. Yeah, change is change. You know, it takes a minute for your eyes to adjust, but if you want to put it back to the way that it was, you can. Ravi, do you want to show that right now, or should we put out like a?
Yeah, if you could just make like a short video on how to orient it, that would be ideal, I think.
Okay. Okay. Let me put something together, and then we can put it out and share it. And yeah, to get it as close back to the original where it's like in the tree. The feedback
Yes,
we're
yeah.
getting with that is, you know, I have to click plus, plus, plus every time to get to what you're, you know, needing to get to. So yeah,
Well,
it's
and
just a
again, I mean, that's
difference.
if you want it like that.
Yeah.
That's it's just for me the way we create quotes. This is making every screen so tiny for me that I can't even really look at the information. And I've tried to move things around and it just bounces back to this. So.
Oh, well, if you move things around and you've gotten to that point where it's like, oh, I like it like this, it's just a matter of going back to your home and saving your
No.
layout here. Oh, okay.
It's not it like I'll try to move each box and it immediately bounces back. It's not sticking in a format and then I can leave it in that configuration. It's just immediately
Gotcha.
bouncing back.
Okay. Yeah, tip and trick here, if you're using the new Beta BOM window adjuster is that blue, like I'm just holding down my mouse of where I want to put it. So if you want everything on the left side, you could just, yeah, it's a matter of just, yeah, it takes some time, yeah, I play with it too. Like see how I'm just not sure where I'm actually putting this. So let me get with Ravi to put together a good video of, I guess, the best way to get it back to the as close as possible to the Legacy BOM, and that might help.
That would be ideal. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. How about Hannah Lucas? Hey, Hannah.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm also from Source. Did not know that Kat was going to be on this call. I just had a couple questions, semi-related, but first, we are looking to just optimize some of our efficiencies right now. And in doing so, I'm looking at a lot of the manual work that's being required. For instance, to build out a delivery ticket, we have to type in the entire scope of work in order for it to print appropriately. Or on whenever we're requesting like a survey install quote, that kind of thing. We're kind of having to type it all out. So essentially, our teams are having to go in and copy and paste an entire scope of work in order for it to print out and use it appropriately. I guess one, is that accurate? Like, is there a better way of doing that, or is that the only way to make this work?
Where are you putting the scope of work originally? Are you putting it here?
Yeah.
Okay. So in your calendar, you're gonna flip about this. It's just under work order options. You just need to turn on print scope of work and hit save settings.
So Kat or Jeanette, I think you're both on here. Is that what we're doing, or is that something that we're doing separately?
That's something that PMs would handle, so I don't
Okay.
even know.
So let me take a look at that. So that could be a super quick solution then if that is that. And then tied to that, I was specifically curious about just the different, I guess, the upcoming plan and integrating any sort of AI into the platform itself. For instance, if I wanted to sync something as far as acknowledgements go, is there a way to kind of reconcile that to match up to the POs to subsequently then automatically send an AI to pay the vendor? And if so, are there checkpoints going to be associated to verify that that's accurate?
Automatically pay the vendor. That's scary. But going
That
back
was just
to
an
your,
example. Yeah.
I got you. But yeah, checking POs, or I'm sorry, acknowledgements against POs is probably the most time-consuming thing in e-manage versus other than, you know, checking finishes and the drawing, you know, specifications. Making sure that the acknowledgement that's coming in is accurate and you're lining everything up with your purchase order. We're very aware of this. It is on our roadmap. Currently exploring some different options there. I do have a dealer that's currently exploring doing it with Zapier. So we have the technology, we have the bones kind of in place to move that project forward. But yeah, it's just about a matter of where it falls in priority. I would say it's probably one of the top, the higher priority items after one of our top priorities this year, since you're just curious, curious about what's next. Come quarter three, quarter four, we're not going to be really adding a whole lot of features. We're not going to be really doing much as far as like new development goes, unless something pops up, web services, things like that, organically pop up. What we are going to be making our main focus on is updating the user interface to match completely throughout every single window in eManage. Currently, right now, you guys are dealing with, this is an updated view. The documents is an updated view, but you go into something like, view purchase orders is the old screen. So updating all of the windows so that we can make everything look the same and have the same better functionality of these newer windows, like the grid layouts and all of that. Literally the whole interface just being updated, as well as while we're updating the interface, the code is actually being, and I'm going to totally murder this, Ravi, you can speak up, but reworked, refactored. That's the word I was looking for. That way that everything is running just as efficiently as possible. As soon as we're able to get everything in the refactored code and the refactored user interface, we have a lot more control over speeding development up in general. Right now, we get to places where we're slowed down because everything is not up to speed with the code base and everything like that. So big projects, quarter three, quarter four. As soon as that's done, again, we're going to be able to develop a whole lot faster. We're currently developing in some older code, and it's definitely not as efficient as it should be. It's the Philip still in the, a lot of it's still from what Philip did. So there's a lot of unraveling and putting together the right way that we have to do.
Okay, yeah, I think that makes sense. So your recommendation would be to work with third parties and integrate into eManage. So you don't currently have, I guess, a roadmap of when you plan to incorporate it yourself.
It'll more than likely be 2027, unless I find that there's a third party that, if anybody's aware of Riverstone, that I'm working closely with. They've helped us with the CET extension that we have in the marketplace there. They already have some document scanning technology. We're just trying to determine, does it make sense to wait and do it in-house, or does it make sense to outsource? In the meantime, technically, it is possible to do with the API and with Zapier, but it does take a lot of work. So if you want to go down that path and explore it, so that you can get something a little bit more immediate, technically it is possible. But yes, yeah.
Stephanie,
Thank you.
This is Kat again. In my research that we were looking into this, we also found another company. I don't know if you've heard of them, but Cerulean. They also do document scanning to compare.
Gotcha.
So
Okay, cool.
Just to throw that out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they have a company called Match, actually, is what they're about to come out with. If anyone wants to look into that, it's pretty cool.
Okay, I'll have to look into that. But I will say that shout out to, I think it was Eden in the community. If you guys haven't signed up for the One community, definitely go to our website and sign up for that. Hearing from you guys directly, customer to dealer, customer to customer, e-manage user, I think is so powerful. Something I found really cool. Maybe it was Casey or maybe it was Eden, but there was a cool comment in here about how they're using ChatGPT. They shared the prompt that they're using. I thought, how cool is that? If I had that back in my dealer day, we would be so much faster at matching acknowledgments to POs. It's not going to be perfect. No AI is perfect. We all know that. But it could absolutely help speed up the process of, comparing document to document. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely go check out the One community. I thought that was a really cool share.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Eric Briggs, BI.
Hey there.
Hi.
Hey, I've got a question for you. How can we create a work order form prior to putting a job on the calendar? Currently, we haven't been able to. We might have another question or two after this, but we'll keep it quick.
Yeah. As far as getting a work order period, it has to be on the calendar. There's no way around that. I have some dealers that kind of have a workaround. You can go in and print, let's say, the project information, maybe even modify and do a custom template that suits what you need on that work order prior to it being on the calendar. But not if there's a project in place, you should just go schedule it and print a work order. A big not misconception, but maybe misunderstanding of scheduling is that you have to drag and drop it from down here, so that means that it has to be booked as an order. That's not the case. You can just right click on any day and hit schedule new implementation item and select the project from the drop down. This way it's pulling project name, it's pulling project number, salesperson, scope of work, and you're not having to manually key any of that in. So that would be the recommendation I would make.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
And we have
Other questions?
Christy on too. She's got.
I have a question about once an order is placed and we have a vendor that sends a rebate, what is the best way to account for that within the order?
So basically a vendor credit.
Right.
Yeah. So we actually handle vendor credits now. This just came out in the last update. So when you go to add a vendor bill, and I think I have a team member on that is going to be writing up an article on this one. We don't have an article on it yet, so we'll have that out here in the next couple of days. But you can just flip to is credit. So whatever you put as the amount, it'll just make it a negative. You can actually push this to QuickBooks and then apply the credit to the vendor bill if it's something that you want to apply to that project. But yeah, all of this affects the final profit and the commissions. So yeah, that's a new function, but I think that would be the best way to handle something like that.
Nice. So even if there's not, we don't have to have an acknowledgement.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And you can, yeah, if you had a bill to apply it to, it will automatically deduct, from the accounts that's associated with that product type, as far as the GL accounts go. But you can always come up here and just manually edit. So if I do a $50 credit for this one, I want it to be $50 against, what furniture cogs or, maybe you already had something sitting in WIP, so you just want to deduct it from WIP. But yeah, you can manually select your GL accounts and map it out. And then, yeah, it'll just be a negative, basically, cost to the project order.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Stephanie, can I just ask you a question? How did you get to that screen to put the vendor credit in?
Yeah, I'm in acknowledgements costing. This is the same place where we add vendor bills. So you'll just same button and everything. It's just a is credit toggle there.
Oh, okay. Got it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Was that it for PBI?
Yes, I believe so. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. How about Rick?
Okay, so we tried to go into the Ask EM the other day. We couldn't. It didn't take our credentials, and there was no way to reset them. I don't know if they're just set as your standard. It didn't, or if we had set them up in the past and don't remember them.
I do have Igor on the call. Igor, is there a way to reset the credentials?
Yes. So I believe you can simulate how you would drag the screen from the left to right inside the screen if you put your mouse to leftmost. Yeah, but it has to be inside. And drag. Or actually, no, wait. You need to put a message in. So type something like hello, it doesn't matter. Yes, and then you see your profile where it says M.
Ah,
So click there, and then you can log out and
log
stuff.
out,
And that's
and then change
and then
here.
you put
So yeah, we
Your
put in our
I'm
connection string, but
it's your
the
connection string is not that long profile key. Did you use that one?
no, we just use the same thing we use for the online for
Mobile
the app.
mobile app.
Yep,
Yeah.
right. But it when we put in the credentials and password, it just said it didn't match, and there was no way to fix it or reset it.
Mm.
So
I do know it's very case sensitive, like the mobile app. So yeah, put in a ticket, send some screenshots
okay,
over, and we should be able to
gotcha.
assess quickly.
I said one other quick thing too. So
Yeah,
we,
yeah.
we do these notes in here. So like on the sidebar over here, you have history, document, and notes. When we put
Mhm.
notes in there, nobody knows that the notes are there. So is there a way that that could have a number on it or some way to tag out that somebody put some notes in there? We run into this on projects. We also run into it, like say on company, because if you go to the company tab, there's no place to put a note about the company anywhere. You know, like we have a scope of work or an opportunity note. There's no note field that pops up for the company. And if we write a note in notes, nobody knows it's there. And you know,
Mm.
so
I
it's
like the idea. A couple things here. You can add a note to a company. So just to clarify that, if you open up a company, you can just add a note there too. But
correct.
um,
And that's what I'm saying. If I put a note there, nobody sees it. Nobody knows it's
right,
there because there's
right.
no tag that says it's there. And there's no
Mm.
open box down here like you would on a project where it says opportunity notes or scope of work. If there was just a box here where we could have, 50 lines of data or, something out, if we had some special consideration for this customer or what have you. So it's just
Yeah.
less of a
What if you
question,
just
Like
put
the
a little
more of a
yellow
request.
flag?
I like the thought process. Let me talk with development and see, yeah, what we can do about that. What I will suggest in the meantime, though, is maybe making it a pop-up note. If it's something that's like really important and you want people, to
Yeah,
have
we
that in
do.
their face. Okay,
We do
you're aware
do
of that.
that for one particular purchasing it pops up for or accounting if it needs to be
Okay,
billed. But then you have to do it every single time too. But it's just if you put those notes there, even projects, if you have special contract thing or something, you put it in the scope of work, but then it gets pushed down, gets lost. It would be kind of
gotcha. I
just
hear
a
you.
tag out if you do use that notes.
Yeah, love
So more
it.
of a request that
Yeah, good feedback. I will, Ravi, if you can make a note of that one, we'll discuss.
Yeah, got it.
All right, Elizabeth Walsh.
Hi, I am from Strategic Spaces, and I'm actually an unlikely person to have any questions because I don't right now use eManage. Our company obviously does, but I'm in marketing.
Okay.
I've just been seeing a lot of teasers on your website about things that that you can use and how you compete with HubSpot and these things. And we're a smaller company, so we technically right now don't have a CRM, and we would love to use eManage that way if it's possible. Is there even just like information that can be sent, or is it a part of your roadmap planning? Or is there a way that we can figure out how we can utilize some of your tools that we're not using right now?
Yeah, let me one address the competitor to HubSpot. If that's on our website, please point that out and let me know because we are
It's not, but
okay. Like,
it's on like when you Google you in HubSpot, there's like this whole, I don't know what website it was on, but it's like HubSpot
gotcha.
versus e-manageONE. So which was
Uh,
interesting, I think, to us because we've never thought of you in
yeah,
that sense. And maybe you're not.
I
Are you not
wouldn't
meant to be a
I wouldn't
CRM at
think of
all?
us in that sense whatsoever. We handle what's important um when it comes to CRM. Basically, the what's important to the business system. For us, that's what was the source of this project, what's the source of this lead, are our marketing efforts working, which ones are working, which ones aren't. That's the basics of it. We don't track clicks, we don't market ourselves as sending email blasts and open rates and things like that. So just want to be very clear on that. What I would suggest is, beginning to explore what CRM functionality we do have. If you go into help and the e-manageONE help guide, the section on the left would be under CRM. So this is this is it when it comes to CRM. The bulk of it is really related to marketing campaigns, lead creation, lead conversion to projects, and at a high level, what we're concerned with is what's converting, what's not converting, what's working, what's not working.
So what about as far as plugins? Because what you definitely do have on your website is plugins to MailChimp and some to Zapier, and some of the other ones that are like plugins, so that all of our contacts live in e-manage. That's how we create our projects. That's how we keep track of all of our customers. So it's kind of like if we already have that and we're using that as our CRM technically right now anyway, we export Excels from it and kind of edit it that way. So it's mainly just connection through maybe something like Zapier to a MailChimp. So I'll look at this. I'll have someone on our team like help me look through that and see if I can get some information.
That's good. Yeah, the API is great for pushing and pulling of data. So you can create a contact in eManage. The API can call and say, well, call for contacts created yesterday and create contacts in XYZ. Like put it into MailChimp and get them on the marketing campaign or whatever it might be. So there is a way to connect, via Zapier or directly through the API. I would, like you said, dig into the marketing campaign section and then maybe a little bit into the API section itself as well. And let us know if you have questions as you start to explore it.
Great, thank you.
Absolutely. So many good questions. I want to just keep going. I will absolutely, if there are questions and people can stay on, I will absolutely go for an extra 30 minutes, but we'll try to get through the next few questions as quickly as possible. Samantha?
Hi, it's Samantha from Laerdal. I'm wondering if you guys have any plans on making it obvious for where quotes were created in Legacy versus the beta.
Ravi, answer that question.
No, unfortunately not, just because you can flip between the two. So there's no real concrete way of saying it was only touched in Legacy or only touched in beta.
If any other customers want to chime in on that, I know that there was a ticket recently. I don't recall who it was, but yeah, I think what they were trying was maybe just adding a pop-up note on the project. BOM created in Legacy BOM, stay in Legacy BOM. We're going to be going away at the end of the year. So just a few more months to go through that transition period.
One thing we may visit, I haven't looked into this a whole lot yet, but is in the change history, we might be able to indicate where a change was made in terms of Legacy versus beta. So that's one potential option.
Really, anything would be helpful, just in case changes need to be made and it has to be made in the Legacy.
Right.
I don't have suggestions, but
we'll definitely brainstorm and see what we can do for sure. Thank you for that feedback. Jacob, forward tilt.
Hi.
Hi.
So I just had a quick question about MCP servers, and I was wondering if that is something that eManage was looking at adding. It sounds like in 2027.
Bobby? I don't even know what NCP servers are, so.
I can answer that. That's not on our roadmap, but I guess if you have really specific workload, then we can definitely take a look at that in 2027. But that's not something we're planning to do right now.
Okay, sounds good.
Because yes, the main problem would be that there is so much you can do with eManage, so it will have to be rolled out in phases, and we need to prioritize what people want first. So I guess you could be our first priority customer if you have a specific workflow that you want to share.
Yeah, I can definitely put together what those would be, and I can send it over to you guys, and we can start planning for next year.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Aaron.
Carla?
Hi, I'm Carla and I'm calling from Core Office Interiors. My questions is just regarding the new beta. I'm trying to organize my columns by doing like the edit sort, and then I change the columns around, and then when I hit accept changes, once I close the window and I get back in, it just doesn't seem to stay. My view on the columns, like when I try to change the columns around with parts, description, vendors, when I try to do the edit sorts on the parts section.
You just have to drag one first and then accept changes.
Real quick, I think there's a quick misunderstanding. So the edit sort is for what Stephanie just mentioned. It's reordering like the current phases or parts in the grid. If you're changing the columns, that's actually the grid layout. Stephanie, if you wouldn't mind showing expanding a grid layout.
Yeah, so once you like get your columns where you want them, the new grid layouts just have the pop out panel on the left side. It's in every single grid. So whichever window you're in, you can modify the grid and the fields the way that you want them. If you hit that little pop-up panel, you'll be able to hit save.
And then also I know in the old bill of materials, we had a section to where we can number the items. Is there a line number here on this one where we can organize it?
So it may just not be in your fields. We kind of talked about this at the beginning of this webinar. But yeah, priority is your line number.
Oh, priority. Okay, that's where it is. Awesome. And then I think the last one was on the profit margin. I get a red arrow once I start adding the margin. What does that red arrow mean?
We have uploaded some conditional formatting rules with the base layout. You can surely edit them or remove them if you don't like them, but conditional formatting is what controls that. So if you go into conditional formatting and manage rules, you'll see that the profit margin here has a bunch of rules behind it. So when the value is greater than or equal to 35, it'll be up. Yeah, so these are the rules here, and you can adjust them. Just make sure you save that layout.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
I'm so sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I'm also with Cora here with Carla. Can I say that formatting as for the entire company, or is that for the specific user?
Yep, for the entire company.
Perfect.
Just save save it as your company default layout. No problem. Thanks, Myra.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna keep going. If you have to pop off, we're recording this session and we'll upload it to the YouTube channel. But I'm loving the questions and I want to help, so I'm gonna stay on. If you can stay and you still have questions, feel free to stay on. Rebecca.
Yes, hi again. I actually a quick question off of what you were just talking about with the grids. If you make a grid and you want to revert back to the default, is there a way to do that without just deleting all of your grids that you've made?
Not right
I don't
now,
think so.
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't think so.
Once you delete, it should go back to the original, that we loaded up as the default.
Yes. Okay, cool. And then my other main question was when you create a new company location off of an existing company record, the company type is automatically set to client. And I'm wondering if that's intentional for some reason or if it should. We always change it to client other location because we want one like a headquarters client record and then everything else is client other location. But we have to manually change it because it doesn't default to that. So I'm just wondering if that's something
I'm wondering if maybe your database has in the admin, so you might need to reach out to an admin who could get into the admin application. If you go to company types, anything that's marked as web default shows up in some areas as the default selection. Maybe double check that.
I think in
Otherwise,
this particular case, it's actually just taking with the company type of the record that you're creating a location from.
and I just
Maybe
clicked that and it didn't do it for me. So
try it on a customer instead of
customer.
vendor.
Vendor might be, yeah, configured a little bit differently. But yeah, it does take some of the same drop downs just because it's trying to help you save some time. So it just takes whatever's from the original. So if you add a new customer, yeah, it does keep a lot of, yeah, it keeps the same main drop downs, required drop downs, I guess, here. So otherwise, rather than clicking that button, you could just go new and then hit company. And now you have a full new clean form. Might be easier
Yeah.
just to flip the company type though.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Is it generally recommended? I guess what's in your mind the distinction between that client versus client other location? What's the intention of
I
those
have no
fields?
idea why you guys did that. No, I'm just kidding. Everybody's database is different. They have full control over what
Oh,
shows
I
up in these
see.
drop downs. Yeah, so
Gotcha. Okay.
this is what most dealers start with, very straightforward. They're just labels to hopefully help you identify the difference between, the relationships between maybe the same company with multiple locations. Like if I have
Yes.
one corporate bill to, that's going to be the one, but all the others are install locations. It doesn't actually drive anything in the system. It's literally just a label to hopefully
Gotcha.
help identify differences.
Okay. Okay, that is helpful. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Giselle?
Hi, this is Giselle from OFH Accounting Department. I have question regarding invoicing. So I noticed that when I invoice an order, um, say for example, I invoice a design service, and when I hit new invoice, I it didn't automatically bring up the account design. Instead, I will be entering it manually. I used to not do it before. Is
Okay.
this
So that
the new ways the system work?
Oh gosh, no. Everything should be automated as far as the GL account postings go.
Yeah.
Again, full control over that in the administrator application. It's all driven by product types. So I'd recommend that you go in, check your design, product type, and make sure that you have a sales account set, a tax account set, a COGS account set at minimum. If you're practicing WIP, you also want to make sure you have a WIP account set up. There is more to
Mhm.
that though if you are practicing WIP. So you want to make sure that your actual account setup is correct as well. So, yeah,
So it's
I would
in
start there. Mm-hmm.
drop down list setup, then product types.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like all of those items I'm entering it manually. So I have to
Does
double
it
check in the admin.
actually map it and it just says it cannot find the account, or is there a amount left to post and you're having to come and actually select the account here and hit apply?
It's blank there. And it's
It's
the
just
same issue
empty.
with, yeah, it's the same issue when I enter a vendor bill.
Okay.
So when I also create a new bill, um, I have to manually enter the like WIP and the COGS.
So yeah, that's definitely going to be setup related. That should not be the case, period. So if you haven't put in a ticket on that yet, please put in a ticket and we should be able to get you your answers pretty quickly. I don't want to log into your database
Okay.
and show anything I shouldn't show right now. So let's
All right.
get in the ticket. We'll be able to log into your database and double check your setup. It's definitely going to be setup related.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you. And one
Joselle, go
more
ahead and put that in the
question.
training queue if you don't mind, Joselle.
Yeah, I will.
Okay. All right, thank you.
One more question. So it's in the invoice by line item. That feature is very, very helpful. If there are two lines, But what if we have a back order, like say for example, we want to invoice just 7 chairs at this point, and we want to back order 1 chair.
We don't have a
And
way to invoice individual quantities with the invoice by line item feature at this time. The way to do that is to get those 7 of 10 on its own order. So you'd come into the order entry screen and there's a move quantity feature. So you can say, well, if this one was a quantity of 10, I could say move quantity of 7, and it'll prompt me through some pop-ups there to move it to its own separate order. Then when you get into invoicing, you could invoice just for those 7.
okay, but it has to create a new order number, right?
Correct.
There's no option to stay on the same order number?
Correct. At this time. Correct.
Okay, gotcha. All right, that's it. I don't have any more questions, and I'll be sure to log that ticket in the service desk.
Perfect. Good questions. Thank you, Giselle.
Thank you.
All right. Eden? Hi, Eden.
Hey. Okay. Is it possible, like I've created a new grid in Day Planner, and because my goal, one of the things I'm trying to solve for our team is I put this in the community, but we have our PO log that's a spreadsheet for like planning and all of that to know when things are shipping and all that, and it's color coded. Is it possible to color code things in eManage? Like if I create our own spreadsheet in our own grid?
The day planner doesn't have conditional formatting yet, because these haven't been updated to the latest UI. Once those are updated, you can use conditional formatting to create automated color coding. I don't think we'll ever have a way just to like color code something randomly.
No, I would want it like conditional, like, okay, once
Yeah.
it is shipped now, it's been received in, and
Oh,
all
yeah.
of that kind of
That's
in
coming.
one screen. So as we do that, you said it's coming.
Coming, yeah, for sure. I know the big one that everyone wants is, yeah, same thing as you're kind of talking about, order status. Yeah,
Okay.
make something change to a color when it's 100% acknowledged or 100% received. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Conditional formatting will be a part of every grid by the end of this year, hopefully.
Sweet. Number 2, I lost it. What was it? Oh, what is Ask EM? I saw y'all talking about that, but I've
Yeah.
never used it or know what that does.
Yeah. When we first came out with it, it was kind of like a little pop-up on its own, and people were like, I don't want to have to minimize that. Nobody was using it yet. Still probably getting people using it more. We need feedback on it so that we can enhance it. This is our first run at AI. So it is basically a way to ask a question about anything in your database, anything about how to do something in eManage. And it should give you, a ChatGPT type response.
Okay. And then the last thing, if we don't have time to talk about this, that's fine, but contract billing. So when our sales team, I don't know why they don't always know that it's going to be a contract billing, but
Are we
what
asking?
Yeah. I don't know. But let's say they do know. What should their BOM look like, knowing that we're going to be either getting a check back from the manufacturer or they're going to be getting a credit on our bill?
Very first thing, the entire project should be marked as a direct bill. But yeah, that probably opens up some conversation for all the different ways that different manufacturers handle direct bills. There's just different methods. What I'll point you to get started is in the help guide, there's a whole section on direct bills. Once you start going down that rabbit hole, if there's any questions about it, just put it into the training chat service desk item, and we should be able to get you some answers there. But there's just different variances of how those are handled. Manufacturer to manufacturer, dealer to dealer. We'll give you as much info as we can on how people are handling it, but direct bills aren't easy. But yeah, just first thing first, flagging it as this is going to be a direct bill project would be the very first step. That way we can kind of all understand that, you know.
Yeah. How did you make that search? Because anytime I've tried to search in the help guide, it doesn't work. I get it.
We
There's
get
no
that
responses.
feedback. Yeah, we get that feedback quite heavily, depending on what web browser you're using and the different settings on different people's web browsers. The one thing that I can share, what it cleans it up, at least for, I don't know why it keeps resetting back. We use a third party for this Atlassian product. What they've told us and what works for our customers who are having a hard time searching is just to clear your cache and your cookies, you know, in your web browsing history, and then you should be able to search. I've seen people have better success with different web browsers than others. So you can always copy this and put it in a different web browser and see if it works for you.
Okay.
I was
Google
gonna say
Chrome
that's
versus
what we
Edge.
do. We copy it out of Edge and paste it into Chrome.
Mm.
Well, I'm in Chrome whenever I go to it.
Yeah, see, and some people have success in Chrome more than Edge, and some in Edge. It's everybody's, you know, settings, web browser settings are going to be slightly different. I would talk to your IT people or do a quick search to see if there's something that you can permanently put in place in your web browser settings. But I do know that clearing your cache and your cookies should immediately let you go in and search.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, back to the conference room. I don't know if it's a different conference room. We can't see the full name.
Hey, Steph, it's Jess from Kirshner. I have a question, and then Stacy and Jerry have two questions. But first, I wanted to know, and I know we talked about this when Beta BOM first rolled around. There was a field to put in like a contract number, and I just wanted to know, like, it's still kind of in there, but there's contract number versus contract name versus contract ID. And I wanted to know what the difference was. Where exactly do these things show up? And when we put in, because I'm using, like, you know, well, how I would use it when I used other programs, contract number versus like a quote number, you know, that you get from like a vendor. I would use that, and I would do that while I'm doing my discounting. So that way when it pulled, I would expect it to show up on my PO when I'm cutting my PO, that, you know, contract number. So that way you know what pricing you used, or quote number, so you know what pricing you used. But where does that generate from? Like, if we put in that contract number, where does that then show up at?
So right now,
I was gonna say.
believe this does not actually carry through. That's something we
Anywhere.
can talk about. This was originally intended for something in the Legacy BOM where you can set like you can import a contract, and that's where it sets the contract ID. So contract ID is a field that just shouldn't really be manipulated.
Okay.
But we can definitely discuss how you would like to use the contract number field, because right now I don't believe it's being used for anything.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm blanking on the system I used before, but when we, you know, like when you go to do your discounting, especially say if it's like a large BOM and you have so many different vendors, like I had one where I was working with like 25 different vendors, and each one of them had a separate quote that I'm working on, which has different pricing. When I'm doing my pricing, I could then input what my quote number or contract number was right next to that. And then it would carry on through to the PO. And that way I can just double check it then. And that I found that to be super, super helpful, because now, you know, I'm pulling up my quote or like, you know, my contract, and I'm putting it in when I'm doing my discounting. And then, you know, I come back and I'm trying to do my order entry. I have to bring all those documents back up, and just to grab, you know, that quote number again to make sure that I'm putting it in, like, you know, the special instructions field on the PO. And it comes a lot, especially when you're working with really large orders.
Yeah, those larger manufacturers have it built in where we're just like sending it through web services, which is really nice, where you don't have to do any double checks. But yeah, for some of the manufacturers that don't have that, you know, that capability just yet, we get that you need to put it in somewhere and double, you know, cross-reference and all that. If it's just about carrying through to the purchase order, we can put that on our backlog and see what we can do. You want to get it done quicker, it might be a matter of, you know, a custom report. if there's anybody else on the call that wants to do like a little clap or something, that they'd also find that appreciative, or a thumbs up. That kind of gives us
This
an
is what
idea. Okay. So it's just
we were talking
contract
about in the meeting
number
previously.
carrying through to purchase order print.
Yes, contract number, contract name, whatever it may be. Because there's like, sometimes it's like, an actual contract, like, say it's E&I or, Equalis or whatever it may be. They have those special ones, but then sometimes like, say if you're working with Sit On It and they have, a specific quote number that you're supposed to be using. I kind of use the it interchangeably, but yes, I want to know where make sure it carries on through to the purchase order.
Okay, yeah, let us look at that.
Thank you, and I think Stace and Jerry both have questions. Hi, Steph. This is Stacy. I just have a short question on the BOM on the line items. Can you show us how to copy and paste line items? I know that we can add, for example, a miscellaneous item by just double clicking. But how would you add, for example, this chair, how would you copy that chair down to the next line? I have had difficulty with the copy and paste, the icons, and even right clicking using copy and paste.
There was a bug in 10060, but there's been a fix in the retake. So when the patch gets pushed out, you'll have it automatically, but definitely suggest retaking. I'm in the latest version. You can see I just copied and pasted, no problems. Same thing with right click, copy, right click, paste.
Okay.
Now I have 3 line items.
I'll do an update. Perfect. Can I ask if this chair, did you import this from Cyncly?
No, she said Spec.
Spec.
Can you edit the line items? When I've tried to edit any of the options, it doesn't take the changes. It'll let me go through and select my fabric, but
again, there was a bug in 10060. You should be able to edit after you do a retake.
Got it. So all this is okay.
So
Perfect. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I wrote that down.
And Jerry's next.
Okay. Hi, Steph.
Hey,
It's
Jerry.
Jerry. It's
Hi.
Jerry from accounting. So I have a question about customer deposits. Are we able to do 2 deposits on one order yet?
No, but it's been a topic of conversation as of late. High conversation. Yeah, I think we will be able to in the near future.
Okay, great. Thank you. That was it.
Yeah. Perfect. All right, Gary Hatfield.
Yeah, hi. Following on the Legacy BOM, you have the starters and then you have the kit quantity, but in the new beta, that's not available. It just tripped me up the other day because I missed like half the casters because I couldn't do a kit. Are you guys working on that, and do you know when it might come out? Because that sort of restricts me from wanting to continue using beta, because we do a lot of carts which have components to them. So if I have 50 carts and they got, 10 different components each, I want to times it out and have the system do it versus me having to go in and go, okay, I need 50 times 2, that's 100 of these, and I need 100 of these. So that's a hugely beneficial thing for us.
Yeah, I think once you have that, I was going to say, I think we have a ticket on it, right?
Yes, so it is actually actively being worked on. Thank you for the examples in that ticket as well.
Oh, sure. Yeah. All right, we're working on it. That's great.
Yeah, quick thumbs up. Anyone else in the room using kits the way Gary just described? Just curious. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. We're going to make it work, but I just don't know very many people who are using that. I'm always curious.
Do people even know how it works? I mean, the power
of
what it can do? Because, I mean, do people understand? So we build a cart, right? And it's got 4 posts, say 4 casters and 6 shelves. And I goes, okay, my customer's going to order 50 of these. And then you just type in the starter 50, and it automatically calculates everything. So all the carts are done. So I just quoted 50 carts in like 1 minute. I mean, I don't know if anybody else
I don't know
has
if anybody
something.
else is like selling carts like that. That's my only thought, is that they're not selling that type of product, but is it space saver?
I would think they'd have a shelving component possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have just like one shelf, you can have one as a starter. You can create another one that's the adder, and then you can times, I'm going to have 5 starters and 50 adders.
Mm-hmm.
And then it will automatically calculate it without somebody having to go in, okay, well, that means I need 100 posts, I need 100 bottom shelves, I need, where you really start and going in, and then you've got a real high chance of making an error, which means when you go to deliver to customer, you're like, oh, I can't deliver because I'm short parts.
Yeah.
Which
I think that call that you're going to have with Marisa, our lead trainer, is going to be really beneficial for us to get a good understanding of how you guys are using it. And then we can share the power of it in case any other dealers are interested in learning how to do it that way, or if they have that type of, component that they're working with. But I think it might be rare, but I think it still could be more relevant than I even am aware of. So yeah, let's get that meeting on the books and get as much exposure to it and make sure that it's working in the beta BOM for you.
Yeah.
I just have a quick question about that. Would the customer see the parts, or would the customer just see the cart and then you're breasting out the parts for later?
You can do either or, because you can do phase, I think, or line item.
Right.
Line item will give you all the parts you can see, or you can go, well, I don't really want them to see all the parts and part numbers. They just want to go, hey, Gary, I just want to order one cart 48 by 24 with a base shelf, posts, and casters. And I just write a description into it.
Mm-hmm.
So it just has a description with all the items hidden underneath it, because they don't want to. So the customer goes, I don't want to get a quote from you, Gary, that has 500 line items I have to manually enter. I would rather have, 10 carts that consist of those line items. And so they only have to generate a PO, a 10 line PO instead of a 200 line PO. That makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. I think a lot of dealers are pretty familiar with that. Yeah, phase quantity, phase unit of measure description.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not, definitely let us know, because that's very common in this industry. Thank you, Gary. Yeah, we'll get communicating with you on those tickets once we have make some headway.
Thank you.
Margaret? All right. Robert?
Sorry, I was away from my desk. I'm sorry. Just quick question on acknowledgement. If I have acknowledged an order and I get something saying one line change the date, is there a way to just go and change that one line without deleting the whole acknowledgement, choosing that line and going back? I haven't seen anything, but
It does have to, if you have different ship dates, the proper way is to have, multiple acknowledgements per ship date. You don't have to delete the whole acknowledgement. You can just come in and go to the acknowledged quantity and change it. So I can change this one to 7. I can hit save. And then when I go back to add acknowledgement, it'll only have left what I can acknowledge. So you can acknowledge the one at the different ship date.
okay. But if it's like a whole order and you have 100 and something lines and line 50 out of it changed dates, it was on back order. And I just want to change that one line item to a different date. Can you do that?
You cut out a little bit there, but I'm going to assume that you're asking, about hundreds of line items, 50 of them changed to a different ship date. There's no other way that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Ravi, Marisa, any other dealer? Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but
No,
it's got to get put onto another acknowledgement.
I think the question was actually if it's a large acknowledgement, still just one line item, but all of that item. So in that case, you would just set what Stephanie did, it'd be the same process, but you would just set the acknowledged quantity on the original acknowledgement to 0. And then when you go to create a new one, only that line item is there, and you can just hit acknowledge all with the new date. So you don't have to delete the original one now.
Okay, that's what I was needing to know. So that's great. Thank you.
Absolutely. How many more hands up do we have? Okay, we're getting to the end. I don't want to leave you guys hanging. Eden, another question?
Yeah, so there's too that's popped up recently with when we have like rental or storage things where we're making like duplicating invoices type thing, create the new BOM, reprocess a new order, and then you're creating another, maybe it's the 5th invoice under this project, and getting the error of duplication of invoice number. Priscilla was working on this yesterday, and or the other day, she put in a ticket. They told them to retake it, and that didn't work. But this has happened to us quite a few times, and so I don't know if there's like, is there something that we're doing wrong that makes it keep randomly doing it? Is it a random bug?
I will, if you have a ticket and they're working on it, they're working on it.
Well,
that sounds like a technical issue.
No, they already
So
said to retake it and that would fix it, and it didn't. So is that something, or we just need to reply back to the ticket and say, hey, that didn't work?
Yeah. Well, if they've already closed it, we'll need you to open up a new one. We don't receive responses on tickets that have already been closed.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely a technical issue, not so much of a, yeah, how do I, or you know what I mean, for this webinar. Yeah.
But I do have a how do I. Vendor deposits that you get the final invoice and there's back orders. I did a workaround. So we entered the vendor deposit. We paid the vendor deposit for the entire order, and then we get the invoice and it's got like 5 lines that are back ordered. But when we go to apply that new invoice, it doesn't match up.
It should if you're invoicing using the invoice line item. So are you doing?
Yeah, we do.
You're hitting this little plus sign and saying, I only want to invoice for this one, invoice this quantity.
Uh-huh.
It sounds like more of an issue because that how to is how I would suggest as well. So,
okay.
Yeah, get us those specific examples and we'll assess.
Okay, will do.
Good. All right, we're gonna go for another 5 minutes. Eric. Yep, Eric.
Hey there.
Hi, it's
Hey.
Christy again. I have an admin question that did derive from a technical issue, but I'm curious if you can help me understand when we have a vendor set up on the admin end, there's an option to use actual PO cost for commission. So this is related to commissions.
Okay.
Based off the vendor to use actual PO cost for commissions, why we would want to use that versus whatever the other options would be. That makes sense.
Different, it's just dealer preference. We have the ability to calculate commission amounts based on actual, which is vendor bills, so actual cost applied to that project. Or if you turn this off, it's going to use the estimated cost to calculate your commissions.
And the estimated cost is whatever we have in the bill of, I'm sorry, what?
Purchase order cost.
Okay.
So while your purchase order might have said we were going to do, $50 in labor costs, and then you get the actual bill and it's $75. If you use, if you have this turned off, your margins will look better than they actually were, and you'll pay a higher commission than what actually happened.
Right. Would you have any recommendations as, so PBI is, we use PBI as a vendor for labor lines?
Uh-huh. Yeah, if you want it to automatically include labor estimates into your commission calculations, then you got to turn this off. Otherwise, yeah, most, I would say, from what I know, majority of the dealers want to use actual and be accurate as possible. Therefore, they're adding, they're either actually having time clocked on projects using the mobile app, or using the time clock in the desktop app, which accounts for real labor cost, or they're putting a journal cost in and accounting for that labor costs that did, actually happen.
Could
But
we
if you have this
also-
turned on, yeah.
So I think we definitely want to do the actual costs for commissions, but for the PBI vendor labor, could we also treat it as could we put a bill against it, like in our acknowledgement? Okay.
Yeah, just don't, obviously don't push it to QuickBooks, but it could be used as a way to work around it. I think it's probably takes just as much time to do a journal cost and adding a bill. Probably just a preference.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, Marie? Upfield? AOS?
Oh,
I believe.
there we go. Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hi. Hi. We have some projects. We're moving over to the beta BOM, but we have projects that I'm invoicing that were built on the old legacy BOM. And when we can no longer make adjustments in order entry if we have to adjust the price by a few cents. And I've been going into the beta BOM and making the changes there and then reprocessing the order. And sometimes the beta BOM will be off. It won't match the order entry. So I guess my question is, am I supposed to be making these changes in the legacy because that's where the projects were originally created? Or can I make them under the beta? Because it seems like it doesn't always match. I think it's because of that rounding thing that had happened, and we're trying to stick with beta, but it's just I can't get them to adjust. Like today, I put a ticket in because it keeps adjusting a penny more than what I want it to, but the BOM is correct, but order entry doesn't show that. So I just want to make sure I'm doing the adjustments in the right place.
Mm-hmm. Ravi?
Yeah, you should be able to do it in both. There is occasionally gonna be cases like this for now, unfortunately, as we kind of work through the legacy and beta. And
okay,
yeah, if you're doing by line item processing the order entry, you can change it in order entry to just match, but you can't change phases or hybrid phases, and that's just because they tie to multiple QuickBooks accounts.
Okay.
So for those ones, as you've been submitting tickets, that's perfect. We can go in and fix that on the back end and address it.
Okay. All right. That's what I've been doing. It's just I feel like it happens with everyone, and so I feel bad. I'm like, am I doing something wrong?
No, it's just this transition period, and we're behind the scenes looking for ways to prevent this stuff from happening. So just know we're on the alert, high alert.
Thank you. It's just we were so used to being able to adjust a penny here or a penny there on order entry, and now you can't do that without reprocessing the whole order, which makes it hard because you have to go in and, it's not my BOM. I didn't create it. I'm just trying to invoice it. And so I was scared to go in and change someone's BOM and make a mistake, and then the prices are all messed up.
For sure. Yeah. Well, in-game is obviously preventing you from having to make those 1-2 cent adjustments, period. And that's, when we are fully in the beta BOM, that should 100% be the case. But in this interim, it's kind of difficult to pinpoint right now.
Thank you. I'm glad that will eventually go away.
Yeah, us too. All right. We only got a couple hands up. So Robert, again, or did we not put your hand down? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, mine are more accounting related. I'm with Source and, try and do some reconciliations between e-manage and QuickBooks. And I'm struggling trying to find out, is there a way in e-manage to see what the aggregated WIP balance is at any time? So I can compare it to the WIP balance on the QuickBooks to make sure, it's aligned.
Tell me who you're with. Sorry.
I'm working with Source COI.
Yeah, you guys have been on e-manage for some time now, so likely it won't match, depending on what kind of changes you're making manually directly in QuickBooks. But all that to say is there was as of the latest update, open balances report came out. and it is as of dates. So you can come in here and see, yeah, there's some WIP reporting, open vendor bills, open customer invoices at any point in time. So it is, you know, you can run it. Yeah, run it as of
So
date.
that's brand new.
This is brand new.
That's what I was thinking, because I was looking at this weeks ago and I wasn't able to find that. Or I'm also very interested in understanding at any given time what the vendor deposit balance might be, right? Because right now that's going, the way it's set up, it's going into a WIP and it gets lost. So if at any given point in time, if I want to know what's the outstanding vendor deposits, how do I get that number? Can I get that number in eManage?
Is it a WIP account?
No, it's not currently set up as a WIP account. That's what I'm thinking might end up having to be the solution. Right now,
Gotcha.
the vendor deposits are getting pushed into the general WIP account, which so that way I can separate it. And that was one of the solutions potentially, is set up the vendor deposit as its own WIP.
Real quick, Steph, could you see if the open vendor bills section of this report, like in this window, if there's a column for is deposit?
No.
It
Oh,
might
I guess
be
I
in
should
the
check. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We can add that, and that would probably be a pretty quick way to be able to check.
True. You can go here though, if you're using the actual vendor deposit functionality, you can go projects, project payables, and then say deposits only and run that. But yeah, let's look at if we can add that here. That way, one-stop shop for all, you know, open balances reports. This should be a really good place to go as of late.
And how do you get there one more time? I don't want to belabor it.
Yeah.
I know you
No
under the analysis projects.
Analysis. Actually, it's just under the main menu, analysis, open balances. Yeah, big shout out to Core Office Interiors. They actually paid to prioritize this under our custom development sprint program. So win-win for everyone. They got it fast and what they needed, but also you guys get to take advantage of it as well. So yeah, open balances report.
And then the only other thing is, you guys have an AR aging report, and it seems like you're supposed to have, you know, when you look through it and you look through the help guides, you have an AP aging report, but I can't seem to ever get to that. So is there an AP aging report in eManage?
No. I mean, if you can do some customizations to this payables report to, you know, pull certain dates and filter down and maybe create a custom formula to tell you how many days, you know, past due it is. But yeah, it would take some finagling to the grid layout. The data's there, the dates are there, so you can get it out of there. But I think most people are probably doing that out of QuickBooks.
All right, but just to recoup, going now to this open balances, I will be able to see the vendor deposits and the WIP, the total balance in the WIP accounts.
Correct. You should. Yeah.
Great. That's great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, one last hand, conference room.
Hi, it's Andy again. In the beta, can you show us the proper way to delete a quote? Because we got stuck in there. We deleted all the lines and then the quote in the
there was also a bug with that in the, so maybe retake and make sure, but I would say the best way to delete, like you truly do not want that quote number at all ever again, then yeah, just highlight, delete selected quote. If I think the cleaner way is to go in and just say not current. That way it's there in case you ever need to go back to it and it just kind of disappears from the quotes tab.
Okay, but to get it completely deleted.
To get it back, you could go into all parts, so that now that we have that all parts again, and just bring it back as current. And then when I go back to quotes, it'll come back, whatever quotes were attached to that option.
So if you're just crossing that out like that, that's not showing up on a report somewhere and throwing off our
invoicing?
No, invoicing definitely not. No, this will just this affects the current opportunities report. It will not show as a valid, you know, most likely quote in your current opportunity like forecast value. But yeah, still there if you ever needed to go back to it.
Okay. And then, is there any way to print our purchase order numbers on our work orders yet?
No.
Is there going to be a plan for that in the future?
Not had that request before. A purchase order number on a work order, like on each line item, you want it notated what the PO number is?
Well, sometimes we have work orders that have 3 or 4 purchase orders with that job that's going out from the warehouse.
Uh-huh.
And
Should
we do
notate the vendor. I'm wondering if maybe you're like if what's the I guess what's the actual pain point?
If it helps, when we have our delivery tickets printed, each of the line items have the vendor purchase order listed there. But for example, the next vendor, you're looking at page 5, that'll say this is the new vendor PO, and then page 9 may have the next vendor PO. When the warehouse gets it, they want to see all the purchase orders right away so that they know that there's going to be 5 vendors rather than looking through 22 pages of delivery tickets. Is there a way to see all the purchase orders right at the...
Again, yeah, that's why I asked for the pain point. If your warehouse is looking for a pick list and like aware of what's going to be coming that day, you would need to, yeah, well, I mean, I would print the pick list. That does put them in vendor, like all grouped together, regardless of the phase, I believe.
Yeah, do that. We can try that.
Maybe try that, and then yeah, let's communicate. Put in a ticket. I would put it into the training queue. Let us know if that doesn't work, and reiterate what the actual pain point is, and then we can see what kind of solution we can come up with.
Great, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark, you're sneaking it in. One last question.
Well, hi there. How are you?
Hi, Mark. Good. How are you?
Hey, thanks a lot for doing this for us. I think it's really helpful, and hopefully we can continue to do it on it. Yeah, it's great. Just had a question about the BOM and using the Spec radio button to bring in parts. I think I've had this conversation with you before, but Spec closes after each item is entered, and you have to open it again to put another item in. And I think you told me that it's a Spec issue and not an e-manageONE issue. I'm just wondering how we might go about addressing that with Spec to see if they don't have a fix for that to keep it open.
Yeah, you can't do that directly in Spec either. Like you can't just say like accept and then add a new one. Like it closes out of that reader. Like, so let me address a reason why I might have said that that's a Spec issue. It's not so much an issue, it's how they've programmed it, and we actually just connect to Spec.
Sure. Yeah, I get that.
And they give us this integration file. We did not like develop it at all. We just kind of plugged it in. So if they change anything on their end, like as far as how the catalog reader opens and closes, it should automatically happen in e-manage. We might have to reach out to Spec to have them modify their integration files, but yeah, we're kind of at the mercy of how they do things.
I heard through the grapevine that Worksheet might be available as well eventually to do the same thing.
It is already available. You have to have Worksheet installed on your computer, but yeah, we can add from Cyncly now, but it's the same thing with them. They handle it the same way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Cool. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Thank you all for staying on late. Super great questions. Absolutely. I love the way that this went, and I can see that there are a lot of questions, some patterns about the BOM, but we will certainly be continuing to do this. I'm leaning towards once a quarter with how successful this was, and I feel like you guys are getting a lot out of it. So really appreciate you taking the time to join us today, and we'll get this loaded up so that you can review it and share with your team for any questions that might have, you didn't have that question, but hopefully you learned from somebody else's question, and that's the whole goal of these webinars going forward. So again, thank you guys so much, and we'll talk to you on the next one.